Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the page. This is your host here, Lord of Lips, with another installment of the live stream. I am coming to you guys live. This is a blackout stream. Just having some. I'm not in the current location that I usually stream from, so I just decided to hop on here real quick and wanted to kind of discuss a lot of the matters going on in the world. So it's just a little quick blackout stream. I'll wait for some people to enter the chat before we really get going. But yeah, we got a lot of news out of Washington, news out of Manhattan, news out of Tinseltown. We got some news everywhere. Um, I guess the first thing it looks like DeAndre Ayton has been signed to the Los Angeles Lakers, $34 million. This comes after free agencies opened up the market in the NBA, and we've gotten a couple of pretty big, shakeups. We got Damian Lillard being dropped by the Milwaukee Bucks. Um, yeah, he was just actually released, um, and he is now a free agent. He's free to go and do what he pleases, and we're also hearing rumors that he might even, or there was some interest with LA. I did see on his story that he posted. Now he is from the Bay Area, but he posted some Bay Area kind of backing like the Golden Gate Bridge. He posted, I think, and said something about welcome home. So kind of alluding to the fact that he might sign with Golden State. There's some interest there. Like I said, there's some interest with the Lakers. But then you also got um, Giannis, who didn't seem to be. He either was saying peace out to Damian Lillard, like see you wouldn't want to be you, or he was kind of throwing up the deuces to the management in Milwaukee and showing kind of some dissatisfaction with the situation going on in Milwaukee. It looks like Giannis may not be too thrilled about Milwaukee's decision of letting Dame just walk free. I think the Milwaukee Bucks did sign Miles Turner. So that was their big splash, signing Miles Turner, which I don't think is that big of a deal. I mean, they got rid of Brook Lopez. They still got Bobby Portis, but they got rid of Brook Lopez. We know last year they traded Chris Middleton, but now we got a situation where they got Miles Turner, who just came off of a finals appearance. And speaking of that finals appearance, I think it's safe to say that, and I kind of seen this coming a mile away, that it didn't look like, to me at least, Indiana will be able to make it back to the finals. I can kind of just see how this story plays out, where Halliburton kind of had his one shot, one moment. We got all the way up to Game 7. Although we must remember he was injured in previous games. I think he was injured in Game 5, I want to say, but he came back and played anyway. So he did try to troop it out. However, I don't think that we're going to see a situation where the Indiana Pacers ever get back to the finals, and it's just going to be one of those what if situations, always over Halliburton's head. He'll always get close, maybe a conference finals here and there, but he'll never actually make it. He said Giannis is wrong. What is Giannis wrong about? I think Giannis has the right to be a little bit upset with the management or lack thereof going on in Milwaukee. I think they've done a horrible job. Well, actually, I can't say that. They've gotten them Damian Lillard. He got Drew Holiday. Them, giving away Drew Holiday was horrendous. And if you remember, that kind of set Giannis off a few years ago when they got rid of Drew Holiday after winning that title with him in 2021. But yeah, so we'll see. I think Giannis is about done in Milwaukee. We got KD to the Rockets. They've also made some moves. The Nuggets made some power moves. They signed Jonas Valanciunas. They got Bruce Brown back, and then they also signed. There's one other major key player they signed, and then they traded. Michael Porter Jr., who probably was gambling and a part of his brother's fraud, sports fraud. So they got Michael Porter Jr. out of there for Cam Johnson, which I think is a pretty solid trade for Denver. So we'll see. And then there's been some other small little moves going on. We'll see. We'll wait to see where Dame ends up. But that's what the happening that's going on in the NBA. He said Nuggets got Cam Johnson. Yep. So we'll see. Nuggets is retooling, definitely retooling. It'd be interesting to see um, where Al Horford ends up. We got a Celtics fan in the chat, and as we know, the Celtics are kind of getting some monies off their books because they're looking for 2027. And they're getting some monies off their books, and we are assuming Jason Tatum's going to be out majority of next year. Maybe he might come back in March or so, but I think the Celtics are pretty much dead set on kind of retooling. Derek White, they might get up off his contract, and now me personally, I do not want to see a Jaylen Brown trade. I want this to be a situation where they kind of ride this this duo out as long as they possibly can. I was actually talking to you, Lane, about this. That man, like long gone are the days where teams just kind of ride it out with their superstar and kind of build around that superstar, and there's different iterations. I mean, you think of the San Antonio Spurs; they had so many different iterations of that team. You had David Robinson to start with Avery Johnson and them boys. And then here comes Tim Duncan and David Robinson era, and then you got the David Robinson kind of taking a back seat. You got Duncan, you got Ginobili and Parker, and then you got the Tony Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, Steven Jackson era. Then you got the Kawhi Leonard with Duncan and them boys era. So there was plenty different iterations of that San Antonio Spurs teams, and they was always pretty damn good and always in contention for a title. So, I mean, I think the Celtics should kind of follow suit and leave Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum alone. I mean, you don't got to get so trigger happy to where you think just when you're not winning the championships. People don't understand how hard it is to actually run a team organization and have success at the highest level like that as far as winning championships. It's a very, very hard task. Even you think the greatest players of all time, Tim Duncan got 5 rings, but that's in a 20-year career. You also got um, even somebody like Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson. That's Magic 13-year career. Kobe a 20-year career. Um, and uh, even Jordan 6 rings, but that's in a 15-year career. So it's really really hard for organizations to have sustained success over a long period of time. So I say let the Celtics cook. Let the Celtics cook for a good amount of time. Don't trade. I would leave Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum alone. Now Derek White is the interesting one because I could see a scenario where they come up off Derek White. He is eligible for like a max contract. He's played really really good, and I don't know if the Celtics want to wait it out and pay him over this duration, especially why Jason Tatum is going to be on the vine for the next year or two. So we'll see. DeAndre Ayton with the Lakers. I don't think it's really much of a needle mover. Needle mover. However, it's really funny because I think now all the excuses go out the window for the Los Angeles Lakers. They wanted a center. LeBron, you got your guy, and it's just another scenario to where I don't want to. Already seeing you idiots on Facebook posting stuff about DeAndre Ayton's pretty good and this and that and that. So it's like, okay, so when I hold you guys to your own standard, when I hold your feet to the fire, I don't want y'all baiting and switching. Y'all said yeah we needed a center, a 7 foot center. Well, you got it. So like I don't want to hear at the trade deadline that y'all need to make more moves or this player ain't doing this and ain't doing that. Take that into consideration today when you're speaking to me. Okay? You should take it all into consideration before you speak out of your fucking ass. And from what I'm seeing, a lot of people in Tinseltown are a little bit excited about this. And I don't know what more the Lakers can do for this fucker. I seriously don't know what more the Lakers can do. I mean, you got an AD, you had the AD era, you had the Melo, you had the Russell Westbrooks, you've had Dwight Howard, you have Cousins, you've had everybody, Caruso, Rondo, Kuzma. The list goes on and on and on. And then we retool with AD and now we retool with Luca, and Luca's not enough. And you got Austin Reeves, who's come up and is an all-star, you know, a fringe all-star. And, LeBron and his camp is doing what they do and putting out all these mixed signals to the media. And, he's either fake retiring or, here's the thing. LeBron has lost leverage within these organizations. When you're 13 years in and you're still in your prime and you're doing shit we've never seen before, you're very much well in your prime and you can use your leverage over organizations. And if you guys remember, LeBron was the king of signing 1 or 2 year. He'll sign a deal and then sign a 1 year extension, and that way he held the organization's feet to the fire, making moves that he wanted. Because if you know that he's eligible to leave you this offseason, you're going to do exactly what LeBron James is asking you to do and making certain moves that he wants. That's why LeBron James, it's really rare for him to sign a real long contract, especially in his latter years. But at this very point in the juncture in his career, when they know that he has 1 to 2 years max left, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to just allow you to hold them hostage, and they're not going to make all the moves that you wanted. We've seen reports out there that there's not really heavy interest in teams trading their young talent and draft picks and stuff like that, and putting all their eggs in your basket for a trade for you to go, uproot their team and uproot their roster and get their coaches fired and all the stuff that you come with. Essentially, when you bring LeBron on, you're bringing the circus along with him. So, as an organization, if you're the Cavaliers or the New York Knicks who just got out of the conference finals, it's like, do you really want to go through all that? Now, the Knicks did just hire Mike Brown as their head coach, and I don't know if there's much difference between Mike Brown and Budenholzer. Now, I like Mike Brown, but this was LeBron's old previous coach, and LeBron wasn't able to get it done with him either back during the day. Give me 1 second. And now you got a situation where you got rid of Tibbs just to get Mike Brown, and I don't know how much better you get from that move that you make there. Um, But yeah, that's really the happenings in the NBA. I'm not too much of an NFL guru. I've seen some stuff going on over in the NFL. I know the Steelers have made a lot of moves this offseason. Obviously, with the signing of Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and then um, we just traded Minka Fitzpatrick for Jalen Attitude Ramsey, which I'm not too wild about this move. Now I know. Well, we're actually taking on a heavier contract. We're taking on a heavier contract with that signing of Jalen Ramsey. And I know that most would say, Jalen Ramsey is probably, better than Minka Fitzpatrick on paper, right? However, my issue was that Minka was a leader in our locker room. He was really, really had major stability within our organization. A lot of players listened to him, and he spearheaded a lot of our defense. So now we got a situation where we got to retool and recreate the wheel. And I really think Tomlin is going to be on the hot seat big time. And sorry, Tomlin must. I mean, let's set the expectations here. What do we think the expectations are for the Steelers this year? You know, I mean, I think it's obviously a playoff berth. I think it's obviously a playoff berth. But do we think that the Steelers can steal a playoff game? Can they win a playoff game? Are they a wild card team? Um, can they win a playoff game? I don't know that. I don't know that. We got the TJ Watt situation where he's not showing up to OTAs and any mini camps because he wants a contract. And with us taking on all these different contracts, it's looking less and less likely that TJ Watt will be a Steelers in the coming years. So it's really alarming. And I think, TJ Watt is obviously a generational player. And I think it's a really, really bad idea for us to retool the way we have for these kind of rentals like Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and Jalen Ramsey and not pay our guy. You know what I'm saying? And I know this is just, typical industry shit, trying to devalue a player that's up for a contract. But, I mean, come the fuck on. This guy deserves to be paid. TJ Watt has broken sack records. I mean, he's a monster. We don't even got to go down to his list of accomplishments and what he's done. He's just an absolute monster, and he spearheaded our defense, and our defense has been the catalyst to any success we've had over the past few years. So I'm really, really irritated with the Steelers movings and stuff, but I did want to set some expectations here on what we consider kind of the Steelers' expectations, and if Mike Tomlin is on the hot seat. I believe he's going to be on the hot seat. People want me to get on. Switching gears real quick here. Let me see. Y'all's daddy Trump is still clowning in the White House. A lot of people are saying that. Let me see. A lot of people are saying that this is, one of the. Got a comment here. You are moving like y'all are all in for some type of run at the ship. I don't see it happening, but the drastic moves say to me, "Hey, we got Rogers. Let's squeeze the last out of this." Yeah, I agree. That's exactly how we're moving. But I don't even see. I don't even feel like that is the correct expectation for this team. It would be one of those things if we got Rogers 4 years ago, or even whenever the Jets got him first. I think 3 years ago. If we got Aaron Rodgers, then I would understand. It's like, okay, you go all in. But at this junction, I don't even feel like we have a championship team. It don't feel like it's an all in, all or nothing year for the Steelers. But I do agree some of the moves we're making got me scratching my head because it's like we're pretending like it's all in. We got all these like literally 1 to 2 year rental people. And we're also like, sacrificing some of these long term assets like TJ fucking Watt for these guys that maybe a couple year rental. Aaron Rodgers all all but said he's retiring at the end of the year, right? So this is it for Aaron Rodgers, and even if he doesn't retire, I think we only signed him to a 1 year deal. We're not going to go through renegotiations with Rodgers. This is Rodgers' last year with us, at least, and I just feel like it's really, really short sighted because I don't think we have a championship roster for us to be going all in how we're going. Um, like I don't think the additions that we've had, along with our roster in the beginning, makes us a championship team at all. I don't even think we're in contention. You know that thing in Madden when you're doing a fucking Madden franchise, and you can set your team's expectations in the beginning of each year. And if you play like my GM or whatever it is in Madden, you set your team's expectations. Just like 5 wins, draft picks, 10 wins, playoffs. There's different type of expectations you can click, and I feel like our expectations to me, from my vantage point, it's like fringe playoff team. It's no better than what it was last year, and some of the moves we made almost seem like Shane said, that they're alluding to us being a championship or bust team, and I just don't. I don't know that. I don't know about that. So I mean, Mike Tomlin, watch your fucking back. That's what I got to say. This is probably going to be Mike Tomlin's last chance in Pittsburgh, because if he just does his old typical 8-8 or 9-8 or whatever he does, and we get ousted in the first round, or in the wild card, that's not going to be good. Lane says our D should be lethal if healthy. I think we can take a playoff game. Yeah, but I think we got to secure a happy and proud TJ Watt. Um, I just, me, I'm not really much of a fan of like piecing shit together so quickly like this, because a lot of our key acquisitions are on our defense, and or no, I'm sorry, on our offense, and I just think things like that take so much time and so much chemistry to get together. And then our defense has been our staple, and now we got rid of Minka Fitzpatrick, who was a clear leader in this locker room, and we traded him for Jalen Ramsey, who's a guy, like I said, on paper is obviously better than Minka Fitzpatrick, but I just think he's also a guy that benefits a great deal by having good chemistry. Shane said a few days ago that when Jalen Ramsey is happy and he's got a good deal, he's somebody that you love in the locker room. He's a great leader and all that stuff. But if he's not, then that's when he becomes a diva. And now, obviously, he probably got the money he wanted, and he's probably going to be happy. But there's things outside of that, I think, that come into play as far as your happiness and stability too. So we'll have to see. I'm just saying I'm not too sold, and it's not a given that Jalen Ramsey replaces Minka Fitzpatrick as far as being a solidified leader in that locker room. How Minka Fitzpatrick was for our defense. Um, but I mean, we'll see. I predict that the Steelers go 10-7. I don't like Rodgers as far as I can throw him. I think the old adage of you can't teach a old dog new tricks, and no matter where you go, there you are, or if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. It's a fucking duck. That's pretty much how Aaron Rodgers' career has gone for me. I've seen the writing on the wall his whole career. I think he is what he is. I don't think there's nobody out there to change him. Ayahuasca Rogers, I mean, you're not changing Ayahuasca Rogers. It's not happening. And I just don't. I think that Ayahuasca Rogers has so much bigger shit on his mind at this junction in his career. I mean, he doesn't have kids. He doesn't really have a family. He hasn't started a family. And I mean, on a serious note, that takes a toll on a man, especially at the age of 38 or 39 that he is. He's probably thinking of those things. He's trying to start. I mean, we know he blew it with Dana Fitzpatrick or whatever, Dana Patrick, a few years ago. And, I'm just saying he has a whole bunch of domestic issues going on in his life. And I think along with his journeys down to South America, losing his fucking mind, I think that he's really not that sold on football. Got another comment here. It also goes to show the respect y'all have for the fellow wide receivers in your division. A good lockdown cornerback is going to have to be on the chase. Oh, going to be on Chase, Higgins, and Ravens picked up D Hop too. So okay, yeah, that's a good point. Good point to make is that we're kind of eyeing some of the competition in our division, which our division is getting stiffer and stiffer, and that AFC North is brutal, man. And yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you got to deal with the Bengals for the next couple of years. You got to deal with the Baltimore Ravens for the next couple of years. Even though we've played those teams historically, we've always played those teams pretty well. We do have the game plan for these teams, and these teams are actually still on the rise. While the Steelers are still trying to kind of cement themselves and have some sort of foundation around their next few directions. I mean, you just think since Ben Roethlisberger's retirement, we've gone through Mason Rudolph, Justin Fields, and there was somebody in between them that I'm even forgetting right now. And then you got the Russell Wilson era. So we haven't had our feet, solidified in any ground. We haven't had our feet on solid ground since Ben Roethlisberger was retired. As far as the direction our team is going offensively. Now, defensively, if we were able to couple some sort of direction, even if we just kind of stuck with one of the three guys I named, and I know that's not a popular takeout in Steeler land, but if we just stuck with one of those three guys I named, I feel like we could have kind of designed a team, or we could have had some fair expectations and kind of seen the direction we're going in. Right now, I'm just thoroughly confused in the direction we're going in. Lane says our CB room should be super solid, but safety has a big hole now, for sure, and we'll see. We'll see. I think a lot of the key to this is, like I said, TJ Watt, because obviously, if we got somebody tearing up the line, like TJ Watt is able and capable of doing, it covers up a lot of holes in your secondary. So we'll see how that goes. But if he's not happy or if he's throwing a fit, and if we franchise tag him, if we do just any little thing, and our front few guys and stuff is not on the same page, and our middle is not on the same page, it could be those holes will be exposed, right? And then, like Shane said, there's a lot of deep threats even in our division. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm just telling Steelers nations to pump your brakes and shit. And I would love for everybody to kind of set their expectations. He said Field was the only option for that. Yeah, I agree, and I wasn't mad at any of. Well, not. I didn't want Mason Rudolph and Randolph and all these other weirdos, but I was all right with kind of writing it out with Justin Fields or Russell Wilson for a little bit. I just needed to see a direction that we was taking, and now we're in a totally different direction. Everybody that knows me knows I'm completely not happy about the Aaron Rodgers deal at all. I gotta grab my charger real quick. But I mean, what y'all want to talk about, man? I'm only gonna be on here for a few little bit. I'm actually gonna come back with a proper stream tomorrow. I need to grab my charger, but we got obviously two underlying topics to talk about. With the curious case of Benjamin Button, Diddy Button, and then we got the situation going on in Washington. He said Duck Hodges. Oh, Dwayne Haskins, yeah. I mean, we see that Diddy has been denied bail. And Cassie, along with I think her fashion designer and a couple other people had written to the judge how dangerous Diddy's release would be, his imminent release would be, and they asked, for a little bit more time to get their affairs in order. Um, and I don't blame them. Shit. Um, Stephen would be so. Stephen would be so pissed if Still Nation won a ring. No, I mean, I would be. I mean, I wouldn't be pissed. Aaron Rodgers is my op, and I won't respect it. You ain't gonna just come to my team and sneak in a ring. I don't like it. So I'm always okay with like retooling and redoing a franchise. Like I'm okay, especially in my younger years. Now, if I was older, I wouldn't be too fond about retooling and having to wait. But like I was so irritated with the Lakers when we traded away all our young assets and shit like that after I got invested in them to retool for my number one op. So same thing with the Steelers, man. Y'all ain't gonna drag me through a rebuild and then go out and get the number one op there is to get. But anyways, Diddy is wreaking all types of havoc. This is like Gotham, This is like Batman, and this is like Gotham City, man. Like, I mean, come on. Manhattan and New York is just literally, what a sight, you know. And I mean, I had a multitude of questions regarding how people felt about this Diddy thing because I'm actually seeing split, kind of a split in how people are A, interpreting the law, and B, interpreting the verdict and what they wanted. Now, the one avenue that's really, really interesting that we'll touch on more tomorrow is the fact that I'm gonna try to get this overlay up. What's really interesting is seeing the fact of people coming out of the woodwork in support of Diddy, who there was a complete industry silence, which we talked about on this stream before, that there was a complete industry silence. I mean, from top-notch people, Jay-Z was notoriously one of them. He ended up being in his own cases and stuff like that. So, you cut him some bail there. Got a comment here. They're debating whether Diddy should be let out on bail. Yeah, I think that they just ruled that he is not being let out on bail, and his sentencing date is going to be October 3rd. So he is going to remain in custody until October 3rd. Now I think he is in that special like detention center. But it's really interesting to kind of see. I seen LeBron James post a little something on his story. He alluded to, I think he had like a welcome home hat. And now I do understand that there's gag orders placed when you're when you're in a trial and you're dealing with the court of law and stuff like that. But that's usually for the person being prosecuted, the defendant. But I mean, and I do understand somebody as powerful as Diddy might have sent out a memo to everybody out there, like, because we can't ignore the fact that there was complete um, social media silence surrounding the Diddy thing. As far as hip hop goes, it was not picked up. I mean, you would have thought that we would have followed this case like people followed the O.J. Simpson case. There's been the Tiger King case. I mean, there's been other cases that people have followed, the Casey Anthony case. There's just been a multitude of other cases where people have followed so much. And I don't think that was the case here. He said, "What do you think he'll be sentenced to?" Well, he served prison time. Yes. I do. I think he's going to serve the one count. I think they're going to give him time served. But I think he could face up to 20 years with the two counts of the engaging in the prostitution. But I think that he serves maybe 3 years in prison. I think he serves 3 years, 3 to 5 years in prison. And I think that sentencing will come down in October. He said it's the most famous trial in hip hop. Is kind of crazy, the lack of coverage. It's easily the most famous case in hip hop history. I mean, Diddy is a mogul, whether you like him or not. Diddy is a hip hop mogul. I mean, you think from obviously his record dealings, his industry ties, even in the know, like the circle, the black boule that you could say that he's a part of, right? Which is, the industry stuff, all the parties he's hosted, all of that stuff. He's a legend within that rank. He's a legend within the alcohol rank. He's a legendary marketer. He's a mogul marketer. He's always been the can't stop, not don't stop. I mean, we all remember Suge Knight at the Source Awards getting up and still in the mic and saying, if you don't want somebody being all up in your videos, all dancing all up in the videos, taking all the attention, come to death row. We remember that, right? So, but that's been Diddy since '95. That's been Diddy. We're going on 30 years of Diddy, and the amount, the power that this man presides over hip hop is astonishing. That's where we start. And now, we'll save a lot of this for tomorrow, but you got to look at people like Russell Simmons, Clive Davis, and stuff. People who kind of ushered Diddy in and taught him the ropes, and how they kind of had an umbrella over their industry during their time. And obviously, we know the situation with Clyde Davis currently going on, and even Russell Simmons, who kind of fled the country and kind of has been like a afterthought going on. But Diddy and Hove have a special ability of funneling things down through the hip hop uh, ethos and getting their message across and people following suit. And I think that this case was one of them. We literally seen industry silence on this lawsuit the whole time. I mean, people covered the topic, but kind of like reluctantly. And it was really interesting for me to see people cover this topic so reluctantly. And now, Zach says, he's going to get 10. I remember when he was dating J Lo, seemed so long ago. Yeah, for sure. J Lo's one of them too. But now we're seeing people come out of the woodwork. We're seeing Boosie support and LeBron support, and I'm just wondering, where were these people when there was a smear campaign going on Diddy? And I'm not saying it wasn't rightfully so, that this guy wasn't deserving of what was coming his way. He did, no matter how much he gets acquitted and found not guilty on these charges, it does not mean that he's not guilty of some of the things he's been accused of, right? It's just that he's not guilty on the charges that they prosecuted him on. We do know that he beat the shit out of Casey in the hotel. We do know that. We do know that en route to beating the shit out of Cassie in the hotel, his towel almost dropped, and that's a crime in and of itself. You know, there's no reason for Diddy to have that nasty ass white towel on with his fat back, running out in that hotel room like that, trying to beat the hell out of that little ass girl. You know what I'm saying? That's enough for at least a 9-month sentence right there. Enough. It got too close for that towel to drop. And there's other things that he's clearly guilty of, right? Now, they weren't able to prove without beyond reasonable doubt that he was racketeering and with sex trafficking, right? That there is this conspiracy for sex trafficking and that it was a legal operation that he had going on. They weren't able to prove that without a doubt, and that doesn't mean that didn't happen in some channels. It just means that the jury wasn't able to prove that without a doubt. Now we know that the jury had to go to recess a couple times to come to this conclusion, to reach this verdict, and they found him not guilty on these counts. Let's see here. We got a comment. Sorry, my phone is tripping. We got Shane in the chat. He says, sometimes the best thing to say is saying nothing at all when you're not all the way sure of all the allegations. So I get why some people are quiet. It makes sense. For sure. I got that from the jump. And like I said, I've seen this done before. And a lot of times it's with a real powerful entity. If a real powerful entity is being accused of something, usually their conglomerates and the people associated with them is given a memo of some sort. They're given their own hush order. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we get gag orders in the courts. We get hush orders, but we also know that outside of the court and stuff like that, streets, there's street politics too. And I'm not. I'm willing to go out and say that all of these people that are closely associated with Diddy, like when you think of LeBron's of the world, even some actors and stuff like that kind of veered away from speaking out about it and stuff like that, and people that kind of wanted to admit their own guilt. And like Shane said, if you don't even know really I mean, imagine being a party where you've gone to Mad Diddy parties and stuff like that. He's being accused of the most heinous crimes there is out there. You're like, man, motherfucker, I'm serious. Like, I know I've gone to mad parties, but I haven't seen any of this that these being alleged. So let me just kind of keep my peace. And plus, I'm not involved in the lawsuit. There, people aren't even mentioning my name as even a participant or somebody that was at these parties. So you wouldn't like, alleviate your name from the, you don't want your name in the hat to be drawn. So you kind of just don't say anything, right? And a lot of that was going on. But even these high profile, high octane celebrities like LeBron, who we all know was closely associated with this, those people were given a memo not to say anything. Those people were clearly completely given a memo. And then, like Shane said, you even have media members who it's their job and they love to sit up there on their channels and stuff and talk a lot of this shit going on. I'm pretty sure that they were either given a memo or they kind of knew, we got to kind of wait and see. And it's kind of like one of those things you really don't know, man. And Diddy is a such a powerful person in this space that you don't want to say the wrong thing when he's not been convicted yet. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying. I mean, we know we got 50 Cent not slowing down on his trolling. He comes out today and calls him the gay. I can't remember what he called him, but 50 still trolling. You know what I'm saying? 50 ain't gonna stop trolling. 50 is a individual, my favorite type of individual, even though 50 gets on my nerve personally, but I gotta tip my hat to him because he's one of them people where he's like, you gotta punch me in my mouth. I'm not gonna stop talking shit. You gotta punch me in my mouth. You gotta kill me. And 50 is in a roundabout way, even though I'm not the biggest 50 fan. He was a big Pac fan. I mean, actually, like during the time of Pac, the height of Pac's beef, and even after Pac passed, 50 had some close proximity to Pac. And one of the things he said that he loved was Pac's spirit. And then you kind of got 50 after Pac's passing. You got 50 taking on the role of kind of like against all odds, with the 9 shots couldn't drop me and all that kind of shit. And 50 just kept going. They're the kings of rolling with the punches. They'll use the stones that you throw at them and they'll build something out of it. And that's what 50 is great at. So he's not gonna stop talking to shit. 50's gonna continue to talk shit no matter what until you like literally chop his lips off to get him to stop talking shit. 50 is going to have some shit to talk. So I do gotta tip my cap to him for that because I was saying, Diddy's out. 50 better watch his back. Now the one person that really better watch their back is Kid Cudi. I'm just saying, guys, don't be shocked if Kid Cudi has an elixir or some sort of drink or some sort of drug overdose. Now we know. I'm just saying, it's been alleged that Diddy is known for, Now we know about the GHB and all that shit that was in the fucking baby oil, that was used to paralyze his victims and sedate them. But there were some other things that have been alleged, even in the Kim Porter situation. Rest in peace to Kim Porter. That on how she kind of died and her suspicious death, and even he had a bodyguard that has died the same way, and other people in his formerly in his entourage that have died in mysterious ways. And I'm just saying we can't, rule that out. This is why Cassie wrote to the judge that Diddy must stay behind bars for this time being until the sentencing because she said he's a danger. Now the defense attorneys was saying that he'll be limited restrictions, travel restrictions, and all that stuff, but he just kind of beat counts that were counts on his life essentially. Those racketeering charges and stuff like that carried a life sentence. So they're stating that this man deserves to have his freedom. He's beaten 3 of the federal charges, and these 2 counts that he's been charged with are essentially like civil suits, right? I mean, they do face minimum times and stuff, but if these were carried out in a certain way, these could have been civil suits. So they're saying he deserves to go free. Now, obviously, the judge looked at, he probably accounted for everything, and it looks like Diddy is being denied bail until that sentencing. So I think the judge obviously agreed with Cassie and the bodyguard and some other people that we got to give these niggas a little bit of fucking time for their escape plan for when Diddy gets on these streets, because Diddy is coming. And Shane has a comment here. If he gets out of prison and bodies start dropping, he takes the case of Gotham City villain, Bane or Joker level. Real shit. Real shit. And I mean, a lot of people, as much as we're saying that there was an industry silence, a lot of people did show their hand, whether that meant that they were silent or they spoke up. It kind of, you see a lot of people's true colors when you're facing an indictment like this. You see a lot of people's true colors. A lot of people either they come to your defense or they don't. And sometimes when people don't come to your defense, that says everything you need to know. So Diddy, there's a lot of people out there on Diddy's wall right now, and I don't mean for him to just fuck. There's a lot of people out there on Diddy's on Diddy's hit list, and like I said, Diddy can get people touched. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, the sentencing is going to be October 3rd. My prediction is he does serve some sort of time, but he gets time served. So they cut that sentence in half or a quarter of that sentencing. But I do think he serves some federal prison time. I just think the way they ran his name through the mud, and because what they tried to do is to that's why Diddy and them at first was trying to get a mistrial, and they were trying to get this actually sped up, because if you guys remember in the beginning of this, they started their campaign with a smear campaign. We had the whole baby oil shit going on for a few months. We had all the jokes, and then we had the GHB, and then we had the Tootsie Roll comment, and then once we got the testimonies and all that stuff. But before the testimonies of Cassie and the trial actually started, there was a whole campaign ran against Diddy. So that way, man, if this guy runs free or not, the damage is essentially done. Same thing with Bill Cosby. Same thing with R. Kelly. Same thing with Russell Simmons. Same thing with Clive Davis and stuff like that. Sometimes a lot of your penalty and a lot of your punishment is going to be the fact that, hey, we drug you through court for a year and a half, and we milked up a lot of your funds, which they're going to continue to do with this Diddy thing. And not only that, but they also work on a character assassination. And with these character assassinations, is obviously closely associated to your earning ability. Especially after you're free, right? So, if they assassinate your character to a certain degree, it's going to be hard for you to really have some good earnings, right? And then that way you're knocked down a few pegs. This is how they keep you in order and keep you in check, right? This is the carrot on the stick. But we'll see. I mean, I want to know what your guys' prediction is for Diddy and how he's going to rebrand himself. If you guys remember, even before he was the home was raided and stuff like that, he started working on a rebrand back in 2023 with Brother Love and the album, and giving Mace and Biggie and stuff their masters back, and publishing and some other things Diddy was working on. And then, not to be forgotten in this is the de Blasio situation, him taking on the liquor company. A lot of people kind of alluded to the fact that this may be kind of them putting Diddy in his place. But my point is that Diddy is going to have some sort of rebrand, and I'm just curious on how he does rebrand himself after this. Does he go the Nation of Islam route? Does he go Jehovah's Witness route? Does he turn into Kanye West? Do we get a loopy ass crazy Diddy? Like, what kind of version of Diddy do we get? Do we get the same Diddy? It'd be really, really, really interesting to see which version of Diddy we get from this. Let me mute this so I can read this comment. Uh-oh. Shoot. Switching gears, man. Sorry. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of people are calling this maybe the two greatest weeks a president has had since I don't know when. But they're saying that the Don is stacking up dub after dub after dub. Obviously, this comes off the back of the strikes in Iran for Fordo and the other two nuclear alleged nuclear facilities that were underground, and the success of that mission. But now we get the passing of the big beautiful bill. Now this has passed through the Senate. It's on its way to the president's desk for a signature. Right now, they did make some amendments to it, so I think it has to go back to the House. Um, and we'll see. They can only afford a couple of the Republicans to not sign off on this bill, because we know that the Democrats, I don't think any of the Democrats are signing off on this big beautiful bill. So this is to be archived, and remember that when this big beautiful bill is kind of either reaping some benefits or tearing up the country, we got to remember who voted for this bill and who did not. um, Lane said we're gonna get Kanye Diddy for sure. But now there's a lot going on with the big beautiful bill, but I think just even the passing of this big beautiful bill, obviously they're saying it's the Don stacking up some dubs, right? He got that. He got the NATO meeting that he had last week, where they are going to increase the defense spending budget, which is what Donald Trump has been wanting for a long time. I think we're trying to get that defense spending budget up to 5% for each nation. So the European nations are on board. They're calling them Daddy Trump, and we'll see. We obviously got the alleged ceasefire agreement going on between Israel and Iran. It's supposed to be a 60-day ceasefire. We'll see. I think that there was some more strikes. Israel struck a cafe. As late as my readings go, they struck a cafe as early as yesterday, I believe it was, and killed some more Gazans. So we'll see. But allegedly, that ceasefire is in motion and is in play. We got a comment here. They don't have the votes in the House for Trump's bill. It won't be passed and signed by July 4th. Might take another few weeks. They go into summer recess in August and then come back in October. So Zach says that there is a delay on this bill being passed because it had to go back. It had to go back after the amendments were made. So we'll see. And obviously, his deadline for the voting on this bill was July 4th. We'll do I think we're going to do the 250th, um, America's 250th birthday anniversary tomorrow. Um, he said, "Live my ass off. You see that crazy ass Peter Thiel interview? He's a madman. Yes, he's an antichrist. He's literally a Satanist. He's literally a Satanist that y'all gave weapons to and technology to. Peter Thiel is a known Satanist. He's an occultic Satanist, and we giving him all types of fucking weapons. He's a fucking madman. He believes in, I've said on the stream, he believes in helping in ushering the Messiah or the Antichrist. And they've even asked him if humans were worthy of surviving, and he had a hesitation. He had a long pause about that. He was like, I don't really know. So here we got a man with all our information, that can do facial recognition and all these different things and stuff like that, and he's not real sold on humankind. You know what I'm saying? So here's where I get real passionate, because we're just like literally sleepwalking into our demise. And he said, "Bruh, play a clip from it. I really wish I could, but I'm on my phone. I'm not even on my desktop, so it won't let me share anything. We'll save it for tomorrow though, Shane. I'm gonna be on my desktop. We'll do a full stream tomorrow, and I'm gonna have the clips from this fucking madman. So we'll see. But that's part of the big beautiful bill, right? We got the kind of like the access or lack thereof to states being able to have regulatory control over some of artificial intelligence's balances, right? And so that's part of the big beautiful bill. Now, a lot of things that got people hung up. Zach says maybe Peter Thiel is an alien in disguise. He is. He is, man. What you guys got to understand is this is going to sound so asinine, right? But everybody should watch a movie. I really want everybody viewing this to watch a movie called They Live. It's an old classic, right? And They Live, I'm sure Zach has heard about this movie. They Live is the classic tale. We know that long-standing conspiracies about lizard people. That's what They Live is all centered around. And when you really look into lizard people and stuff like that, and the fact that we accuse a lot of politicians and stuff like that being lizard people, you got to look into the history of that, because a lot of that, I mean, it stems from a long running,
He said, "Yep, he's insane." He said, "I mean, yeah, but no. What do you mean, yeah, but?" To the question of, "Do you think humanity should be saved?" There's no buts, crazy. Exactly. We got people like that are literally trying to touch the sky and debate with God. On you, we got people like him and Bill Gates and Elon Musk who literally should, not only does the government subsidize these people, but they somehow find their little tentacles around our government. You know what I'm saying? This is just completely bought and paid for. There's no reason why people like, this is what I told you guys. My issue with technocrats and tech people like this in government. You know, it's always a problem. Zach said, "I've never heard of this movie." Oh man. um, it's always a problem to me because there has to be checks and balances in a government, right? That's what a government is based off of, especially a democracy is based off of checks and balances, which is why, you know, we're getting the delay of this big beautiful bill. But when you don't have checks and balances, you know, you run the risk of fascism and dictatorships and all this stuff, right? So same could be said when you're talking about the founding fathers thought this through, right? They thought this through and they understood how to prevent the rise of you know, a fascist government. And when you think about the advancement of technology and technocrats, that's when it gets dangerous, because when those people start to get involved in government, or they get subsidies from government, and then they're doing, you know, bought and paid for shit, right? Like Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It gets dangerous because the checks and balances is out the window, because these people are so much more smarter than people that control the House and the Congress and the president of the United States. Nobody knows what the fuck Elon is up to, really. No one knows what the fuck Peter Thiel is up to, really. No one knows what these mad scientists are up to. You know what I'm saying? We can't have these people in our government controlling shit. They don't believe in the they don't believe in you know, the advancement of humankind. They believe in the advancement of their inventions. And let me see. Do you remember when they said Obama had a secret service agent who was an alien who could transform into a human? Of course, I remember that. I was accusing him of that. And my point in all of this little ramble is that I genuinely believe in this stuff, right? And I've always called, you know, the Democrats democrats and lizard people and shit like that. And I really wish I could share my screen. I can't wait till tomorrow, because we're gonna pull up that one guy, the pastor that got the eye transplants, that was being so crazy, that was pointing at that girl that looked like a demon. We'll put him on the screen again for you guys to really hone in on what I'm talking about here. These people, if you remember, um, I mean, there's a multitude of written history on this, right? You got the Sumerian tablets, you got the tabloids, you got you know, Incan and Lil, you got um, the story of Haru. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in Greece. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. The Bhagavad Gita, just and then you get, you know, in more recent time, biblical stories, and then even in the Quran, you got the jinn and stuff like that. So all of these different societies and iterations of societies and stuff like that, and cultures and stuff, coming up with this idea of some sort of like transhuman angels, hybrid kind of deity that exists, right? And we just like completely ignore the fact that the Bible talks about the Nephilim and the Watchers and shit like that in Genesis, and even some of the banned books in the Bible and stuff like that allude to a lot of these stories. And when you guys understand that this is at least documented in um, biblical or religious or manuscripts and stuff, um, you would then understand where you get the term lizard people and stuff like that, and people that control the government and stuff like that, potentially being hybrids, right? And I'm serious when I say this, that these people aren't human. They're transhuman. They're literally transhuman. Um, he said I was calling them that. I was. These people are literally transhuman. Peter Thiel is one of them, and that's what I'm saying, man. These people that go to the Bohemian Grove and Aleister Crowley and all of these different people, Albert Pike and some of these Satanists and stuff that literally control a lot of the industries um, that we kind of get our entertainment through and our channels through. Um, they they don't believe in the betterment of humankind. You know, they're not trying to advance humankind. They believe in different philosophies. So yeah, I'm glad Shane brought up the Peter Thiel interview. Everybody should go watch that and understand that this is the guy who is in a arms race with Elon Musk along with Sam Altman and even Bill Gates. Because Bill Gates, you are not off the hook, sir. Bill Gates loves going to Africa and stabbing people up with his death jabs. That's Bill Gates' go. He doesn't think Bill Gates was calling for the elimination of what? I think a couple billion people back in 2019 or so. And these aren't just me like taking stuff out of context. This is like legit things that people have kind of alluded to and done research on and have seminars on and stuff like that. And there's plenty of um, there's plenty of information out there to back these claims, right? So Bill Gates, all in the guise of helping, some third world countries, and he uses them as a patient zero to go stab up Africans with these different vaccines and stuff like that, efficacies and all of these things that he does as an initiative to help. But when you hear the fact that this man is also the same person that says that we need to eliminate 1 billion people because Earth can't we can't produce enough resources to accommodate 8 billion people, so we need to get rid of 1 billion people. I don't want that same guy that makes that quote to be the guy that is coming up with patents for vaccines. That's just me, right? Um, Jack says, I guess Bill got his wish with the COVID pandemic. Of course he did. He funded it, right? And um, I'm just saying, some of these people, when you get a good movie, right, a good conspiracy movie, a good one of these good movies, it's always those people at the top, right? It's always the evil scientist. It's always the guy in the lab. It's always the president, even the Manchurian candidate. And like I said, everybody go out there and watch the movie They Live. You'll have a great understanding of what exactly I'm talking about. And that rumor has been going on since the beginning, right? Even before, um, I mean, obviously, you could trace our democracy back to Roman times and Greek times and stuff like that. That's where we get a lot of our kind of idea from democracy from, right? But even when you get into other, like I said, other ancient civilizations and stuff like that, um, and how they worship some of their leaders and stuff. And if you do some of the readings on some of their leaders and stuff, there's a lot of indications and a lot of alluding to the fact that these leaders or these great people of the past had some sort of like extraterrestrial origin, right? And I'm talking about. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but just pick one, right? Just pick any one, and there's always some alluding to Nibiru or the Anunnaki. It's always something like that. That's really the origin of a lot of these powerful entities and stuff like that that we've come to know and love. And a lot of things that we build our civilization off of stem from a lot of their understanding and teachings. Yeah, Peter Thiel, you're definitely on my watch list, sir. And I'm going to use my platform to shout to the mountaintops that people should definitely go watch that interview and keep an eye on Mr. Palantir himself as facial recognition continues to try to drive its way into our society. There's also a good movie out there called Moon, and it came out in 2009. It's a really, really good movie. I urge some of my viewers to watch the movie called Moon, 2009, and it's called Moon. But we are really, 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 really at the precipice of having a society to where now we know that there's like sex robots out there and companion robots and stuff like that out there. But I mean, I'm talking about Grok is making a killing right now, Chat GBT and all that. But eventually, those things are going to be sentient beings that people are going to be able to purchase and have in their house, and you're going to be conversating with like actual robots, and like they're going to be having full blown conversations with you and stuff like that. So we're getting, and when that happens, also watch a movie like what is it called? RoboCops and what's the Tom Cruise movie I'm thinking of? Zach says Peter Thiel was a big supporter of JD Vance. He bankrolled his Senate campaign for sure, for sure. So that's why we gotta remember that it's not people's theory of Donald Trump in this second run, this issue run, him being bought out by these technocrats and the whole 50 billion or 500 billion dollars Stargate investment and some of these things. And I mean, even look at his situation with Elon Musk and how that's blown up, even still today, with Trump now saying that he might look into deporting Elon Musk back to Mars, where he fucking belongs. Um, we got to remember that blow up is because promises were made and not kept, right? And yeah, Minority Report. Thank you, Zach. That was the movie Minority Report. And you got to ask yourself, what were these promises that were made and not kept? Now we know one of them allegedly is Elon's disgruntlement is the fact that we got the EV mandate, or the big beautiful bill not having the EV mandate and tax breaks in there for the EV mandate. Trump is not a big fan of the mandate of electrical vehicles. Elon Musk was pushing us towards that way, but my whole point is that Trump seems to be surrounded by a lot of these people: Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Stargate, a lot of these different things. And just as much as there was an arms race to get to the moon back in the 60s, there's very much an arms race for the next advancement in our next evolution with this artificial intelligence. And I'm just saying, somebody at age 78 that Donald Trump has to be very, very careful, because what's the good saying, somebody at that age, is he really looking at 25, 50 years down the road? I mean, be real. Now, he does have kids and grandkids. I don't know if he has grandkids. I think he has. I'm not sure, but somebody at that age, he may just be out of it. May be just too much out of his wheelhouse right now, right? What does Donald Trump really know? Now, Donald Trump, I can't lie and say that he's a dumb man, because he's not a dumb man. He may be a lot of things. He could be an evil man, a nasty man, a really pampered man, but I can't say he's a dumb man. However, I can say that this may be out of his wheelhouse, right? When you're beefing with Elon Musk, who says he's going to wage war on Donald Trump. Elon Musk thinks he's going to start a third party, and Elon Musk is making all types of empty threats on Twitter. Donald Trump, my advice to you, and I'm about to get off here. Donald Trump, my advice to you is get rid of Elon Musk today. I would deport him, not back to South Africa, because that ain't where he belongs either. Deport him. Get rid of Elon Musk fast. He's making a whole bunch of empty threats, which I think is a national threat to secure, or a threat to national security. Because when you're dealing with, like, again, when I'm saying you're dealing with somebody that's in the tech field, that that's a different wheelhouse, and it's a little bit above everybody's head and pay grades. And there's different types of communications that these guys have. I mean, that they can have out in open that we don't understand. They could come out. Sam Altman and Elon Musk is in a lawsuit right now, but they could all come out and sit out in front of the world, right? And have a disclosure. And we wouldn't understand. The common person wouldn't understand what the fuck they're talking about. And that's where it gets dangerous. So, like, and the common person is who's where the majority of the voting, right? There's 330 million of us, and about 325 million of us really don't know what the fuck's going on, right? It's only about 5 million people that probably actually know a little bit what's going on. And that's me when I'm talking about in the tech field, right? And it's probably a less number than that. So, um, very dangerous game that you're playing, right? Very dangerous house of charades that you're playing when you're talking about technology and them being involved in our government and certain policies. So we'll kind of see. We'll see. I'll save a lot of this great detail for tomorrow's stream. Is there anything else before I go that anybody would like to touch on or ask before I go? I'm giving people 5 minutes. My salmon is done. My salmon is done, and I'm about to actually go finish this movie. Yeah, so Diddy denied bail, but he has beat 3 of the federal charges. He's still, we still got to see about the other 2 charges. We got the Donald Trump's great 2 weeks. It looks like they're going to recess over the holidays, and we'll see about this big, beautiful bill. We're talking about cutting in Medicaid's We're talking about big tax cuts, the biggest tax cut we might have ever seen. However, hey Lane, if you're in the chat, look at this. No tax on overtime. Zach, I know you happy. No tax on overtime. No tax on tips. Woo! Who's excited about that? Zach, you about to start working some overtime, boy. I'm about to get off salary. They ain't about to tax overtime. I'm about to get off salary. So we'll see how that goes. There's a lot of things that big beautiful bill is literally. I mean, big ain't even the word. It's so congested with a lot of shit in there. The campaign promises are all listed through there, so we'll see. But like I said, there's a whole bunch of other things in that beautiful bill that needs to be discussed and stuff like that. And that's usually what they do with these bills. This bill is really, really, really jam packed with things, and it's going to be. It's interesting to see it even get to this point with it being such a jam packed bill. I mean, we're talking about tax cuts, Medicaid, um, a whole bunch of things like that usually hold up a lot of different people. This big beautiful bill could have been split up in four different variations, but it was not. So we'll see. A lot of people are going to have to vote for taking the good with the bad of this bill because I don't think that anybody's going to agree with 100% of this big beautiful bill. But if you agree with 70% or 55% or 60%, um, you might have to vote for it, right? Zach said the tax stuff is what matters to me, right? Zach wants some tax cuts. Zach wants some tax cuts. Zach wants no tips on overtime. Lane says I believe it when I see it. Okay, boy, you about to get no tips on overtime. No tips on overtime, man. We can use that. So we'll see. Any other questions? I got another minute. Any other questions or concerns before I hop off here? Y'all let me know. I'm about to go to my other platforms and see if there's any comments. Lane says we gonna talk about my people's new camp. Give it to me. I'm not following what you're saying. My people's new camp. Hmm. I'm not sure what you're talking about. They're going to have to break the big bill up to achieve everything. I agree, Zach. But then that's when it's going to get real convoluted and it's going to get real messy. Lane, what are you talking about? Your people's new camp. I'm not sure who you're referring to. I'm trying to think. You better hurry up with your comment. While Lane is thinking about that, everybody just take a look at this thumbnail or the picture in the chat. What the fuck was Diddy thinking? What was he up to? I mean, you got a man jumping over you in a dunk contest, and that's what you do at the height of your fucking charges. You look. I mean, look at him. Take your glasses off and stop looking at him like that and biting your lip. You fucking maniac. He said it would be better if it was smaller bills instead of one big bill. Well, Trump doesn't want it in smaller bills. He wants one big bill. He told you he likes the big beautiful bill. He likes the big beautiful bill. Everything's such a nickname in politics anymore since Trump is back, right? You got the 12-day war. You got the big beautiful bill. You got all types of nicknames. Now I'm kind of who's hyped about the European Union and all these other fucking countries that was getting off scot free, having to pay their fair share in defense spending. Who's excited about that? Lane, you're not telling me what you met, bro. You need to hurry up and tell me what you met. I'm about to get off here. They built a new camp. Oh, we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about alligator Alcatraz alligator. We'll talk about it in the Everglades for sure. The deportation camp that's going on down in Florida. Yeah, we'll definitely sleep. He said Sleepy Joe. Yeah, we'll definitely be covering alligator Alcatraz tomorrow. Trump said today that if people want to stay safe from the alligators, they got to run in a zigzag. That was his advice for any detainees that escape and get out and are potentially chased by alligators. That they must run in a zigzag, and it increases their chances of 1% of surviving. He said, Bronny getting cut if Bron leaves. No, we ain't. No more questions like that. We're saving that for tomorrow's show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is the Blackout Stream. This is your host, Lord of Lips. I'm signing out. Oh, we got Austin in the chat. He said, am I late? Did we cover Sean Combs dodging bullets? We did indeed. Please watch this stream back, Austin. But please be here. Same time tomorrow, 7:30 tomorrow. I will be doing a proper live stream. I might have some hosts on. I might have some people on, some guests on, and we are going to really go in depth about a lot of these things here. He said, "What about Trump trying to bag that sister? Oh, y'all coming with all the heat. Can y'all save this shit for tomorrow, bro? We gonna make an agenda for tomorrow. Save this shit for tomorrow. I'm out. Peace."